Morning, Kari. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I sure can.
Good. Good morning to those of you that are joining us for this morning's web seminar. It's 2 minutes before 8 o'clock. We like to start about spot on at 8. So you'll see you're going to hear kind of a quiet little space for about 2 minutes and then we'll get rolling. Well, all right, we are at that 8 o'clock hour. I'd like to get us moving through our day. Good morning and welcome. I am delighted that you could be here with us today. You're joining us for the 5th of a series of 7 web seminars presented in partnership with the Dakota County CDA and their chamber partners. Today, we've got Kari Switala with us to talk about creating value online. We, up until now, have really been focused on funding, some of the technical components that are going on with our business with regard to this COVID outbreak. Now we're going to start to move into both today and next Wednesday talking about what do we do next as far as regarding our businesses and continuing to grow it when people can't necessarily technically come into our physical space. So a couple housekeeping items with today's presentation. All participants are muted. If you'd like to submit your questions, please do so using the Q&A feature. We are recording this seminar and it will be hosted on the partner websites. My name is Karen Schaffhausen. I'm a business advisor for Open to Business. We put these seminars together as we all know that this is kind of an unprecedented time which requires being more flexible and changing how we interact with our customers. So with that, Kari, I'm going to let you take it away from here and share what you've got cooking.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, Karen, and I'm very excited to be able to present you this information today. As Karen mentioned, my name is Kari Switala, and I'm the Chief Creative Officer and Idea Generator at Wild Fig Marketing. A bit about us and what we do. So the name Wild Fig Marketing is a question we get asked most often from people is, how did you come up with that name? What does it mean? And we actually named our company after the wild fig tree in South Africa, which has the deepest roots of any tree in the world, with roots extending over 465 feet deep. So when we look at the nature of what we do and what our goal or our purpose is, it's to help our clients build deeper, stronger, more rooted relationships with their customers so that as they develop those roots, they start to branch out and grow. And so that's how we came up with the name for our company. A little bit about what we do. We offer everything from marketing strategy to content development, email marketing, lead generation. You can see the list here. If you have questions, you can feel free to reach out to me, but we'll go ahead and dig into today's content. So I know for a lot of us, I'm also a small business owner, much like all of you. These have been, as Karen said, unprecedented times. People are very nervous. They're not sure what's going to happen. Our customers are nervous. And so one of the things I want to share with you is, with all the conversations that I've been having with businesses, large and small, the one thing that has been consistent is that, yes, there's some fear because of the unknown, but the biggest thing is that everyone's talking about what's going to happen when we get to the other side, and how much stronger, how much more resilient we're going to be as business owners, as people. And so I really, truly feel like this is a unique time, almost like the universe hit the reset button, and that what we experience on the other side will be different, but I think it can also be better. So I just wanted to kick it off that way, because I do feel like there is a lot of hope to be had here. And once we get through this, we are going to be stronger because of it. So we're going to talk about a couple different things that you can be doing now. So some of you, your businesses maybe have changed dramatically. Some might be, a little bit slower right now. So I want to talk to you about kind of 4 key areas that you can be focusing on. First and foremost is innovation. Now is truly the time to think outside the box. And you've probably seen a lot of that happening already, with businesses having to go online. For me, I am a part of Anytime Fitness, and our group fitness trainings went on to Facebook Live. It was a very new concept for me, and I will tell you, it was a little weird to get used to at first, but the owner of Anytime Fitness, who's also a friend of mine, so she started doing these Facebook Live group trainings. And then once they found out that they had to shut their gym down for the next, until May 4th, they decided to pause any billing on their current customers and offer group training. So talk about pivoting overnight. They have been very successful in doing that. And now their customers are very thankful that they turned their billing off because they can't use their gym membership, but they've given them an alternative to still keep being active. And then it also helps Anytime Fitness continue to kind of make up for some of that revenue that's been lost. We've also seen some of our clients that offer therapy, where obviously it's typically an in-office situation. They've gone to teletherapy. They've been able to turn, overnight, go on and be able to turn on billing and make that happen. We've seen restaurants go to takeout. Yes, it's not for, filling all of their revenue, but it's keeping them afloat. We also had an exhibit company who, as you can imagine, basically all of their events were shut down for the foreseeable future, or rescheduled. They were set to have their biggest month in business in March, and they've been in business for 30 years. And so when all of this happened, we sat down and talked to them like, okay, what can we do? Well, they already had a lot of their clients, like their booths were already built. They have a huge warehouse in Savage. And so what they thought they would do is set up the booth so that they could give people virtual tours. They came up with new packages because they had a lot of the promotional products that were going to be shipped for those particular shows that they could then send on their clients' behalf. So overnight, they came up with a new package and a new offering that they could extend to their clients, because their clients were also hurting too, right? They were planning to have these big events and to be in front of people. So just the innovation there is been, I think, one of the coolest things that I've seen in just a short amount of time. The last example, that's probably one of my favorites, is we work with a manufacturing company called Versar. And when all of this started, right about mid-March, they saw their sales decline by about 50%. And they knew they had to do something different. Like, how could they innovate? How could they think outside the box? And so they came up with basically a countertop screen. So it was just an adaptation, of a product that they already had. So they do they build cubicles as well as soundproofing solutions, screens, dividers, room dividers for churches, schools, businesses, you name it. And so they said, all right, how could we help this, the impact of COVID on our companies? And so they reached out to their customers and said, hey, what can we do to help you? What would you find beneficial? And some of the pharmacies that they work with came back and said, hey, we would love if you could build like a countertop screen so that we can still interact with our customers, but our employees will feel safer, our customers will feel safer, and they're protected. So they did just that. And in 1 week's time, they not only created this product, we helped them come up with a name for it, to market onto their website. We wrote up the description for it. We put out press releases. We sent out emails to their current customers, and it just exploded. So within a week's time, they went from development or creation to delivering the product to their first customer down in Miami. If you want to move to the next slide. And this is what happened. So they, like I said, the business just blew up. They ended up identifying as more and more press got out about these countertop screens and how they could be used. They ended up doing some business with hospitals that they were setting up in Seattle. They could use the portable room dividers, their countertop screens. Title companies reached out to them to say, hey, we're still doing real estate transactions. We need something, like this. And so that picture that you see on the right, that's a countertop screen that has been going into real estate agents and title companies' offices. And then someone from a car dealership called them and said, hey, we're still interacting with customers. We're still selling cars. We need something too. And so now, in addition to kind of pivoting their business overnight or within a short amount of time, they've now identified new markets that they have never served in the past. So this is where I feel like, taking some time to take a look at your business and what could you do differently? What could you think outside the box and come up with a new idea, a new package, new product, new service? So as you start thinking about, and I would definitely, if you haven't done it already, which I'm sure many of you have, taking some time to kind of brainstorm some ideas, maybe reaching out to your team and seeing what they think, or even sending a note to your customers to find out, how could you serve them during this time? Is there something that that they have a need for? If you are not currently doing business online, here are some suggested software platforms and things that you can use to kind of quickly put your business online. It's not a huge task to get this to happen. So a couple of those, automation software is great. HubSpot and Entreport, those are like full service. So you could actually create a landing page where you're selling your product or service, have it be delivered through the same tool, have the money be deposited in your account, and it's all done. So those can be set up pretty quickly. Payment gateways. So you've seen PayPal, Stripe, etc. Most of these can be set up within 24 to 48 hours so that you can start collecting that revenue online. Also offering some scheduling options. So if you say you're doing teletherapy or you're going to be doing some business that way, you can use tools like Calendly to actually be able to have people schedule a time to meet with you, or to meet with you, online, but be able to do business with you online or to set up an appointment with you online. So those are just a couple tools to kind of get you thinking about what you could be doing. But I will tell you, if you are not online yet and you need to go online, it is feasible to have happen within a couple of days' time at a minimum. So the second thing I want you to think about is now is a great time to educate. So if you can't physically do business right now, it's a great time to become a thought leader and a go-to resource. You're probably seeing a lot of webinars that are happening online, but it is a great time to just be out there, be educating people, be providing them with information that can help them, do their business better. We work with an interior design company down in Miami, and they offer services to basically Caribbean boutique hotels, so a very niche market. And one of the things that they're doing right now is obviously people, the hotels that they're working with, their business has basically kind of shut down overnight. So they don't want to hear about like new decor that they can add to their hotel, right? That's additional cost that they probably don't want to spend. So instead, what we're doing is we're creating content for them. Like, what can you be doing now to kind of get your hotel ready for when you reopen in late summer, early fall? What are some things that you can be doing? How can you position your business online to attract more millennials or more travelers that you hadn't looked at in the past? So they are out there providing information. So hosting webinars, hosting Facebook Live events. I got to be honest, I had never, we do a lot with social media, but I had never done a Facebook Live prior to the coronavirus outbreak. And I am actually having a ton of fun with them. We're doing them weekly, and we're asking people for their feedback, like what kind of topics do you want us to address? So everything from how to stay top of mind with your customers to how to update your LinkedIn profile during this time. And we're having a great time, and it's been a fun way to interact and engage with people, and maybe some people that we haven't engaged with in the past. Writing blog articles. This is also a great thing that you could be doing right now, kind of filling your content library. So once we get to that other side, you've got information that you can be putting out to your prospects, your customers, etc. Also posting helpful tips, educational resources, and inspirational quotes on social media. I mean, this is a time that you've probably seen all of the different memes that are out there. This is a time where we want to be in front of people. We need to be in front of our customers on a regular basis, and being able to provide them help and information will set us up to kind of further deepen or cultivate that relationship, so that when we get, like I said, to the other side, they're like, wow, this company was so helpful, and I want to do business with them. So that's another great thing that you can do. And last but not least, developing content and lead generation campaigns. So this is a great time to also fill your funnel. So start providing some good information, creating some lead generation campaigns that you can do online using some of the automation software that I mentioned, where you're coming up with good content that people want, and in exchange, you're able to build your list. Next slide. So here's a couple examples of some things that we've been doing, and these have all been created within the last week. So first and foremost, I want to mention the guide that we created called Rise Up. It's a guide to effective marketing in challenging times, and you'll see a link at the top of the screen. So if you click on that link, or if you want to take a screenshot, you can actually go in and get this guide. Give us your name and email address, and we'll send it to you. And it's got a lot of great information out there, but things that you could be doing right now, kind of highlighting or expanding upon some of the topics that we're talking about today. So thinking about things like that you could create. People love checklists, PDFs, white papers that they can download and use as a resource. I also have been doing a lot of writing. So we wrote an article about my biggest marketing success story yet. So you can see these are two of my 3 dogs. And the one on the left, the black dog, her name is Lucy. She is our newest puppy. We just got her a week ago. And it took me about 6 months to convince my husband to get a 3rd dog. And so we just went out and wrote a blog article about kind of tying that personal story into how to have a successful marketing campaign. And then the other picture that you see is, just like I talked about, we're doing lots of different Facebook Live events, changing up the topic each week. They take about, I don't know, anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. And then we're able to take that link and reshare it out through our email, through LinkedIn, through our other social media channels. So these are just some examples of some things that you can be doing to help educate your customers. The third topic I want to talk about is differentiating yourself and how you can stand out online. As you can imagine, and you've probably experienced, especially if you have kids that are doing the distance learning. I have 2 teenage boys, and so it works really well for me to do webinars and events in the morning before they get up, because as soon as they're up, we've got my husband's online, I'm online, both boys are online. So there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of web traffic that's going out there. So it's important to make sure that when someone finds you online, that you stand out. So a couple different things that you can do, and that I'll kind of highlight here, is telling your why story. I'm really big about really focused on stories, and I think that that's really important because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So taking a look at your website and on your About Us page, are you telling your story, why you do what you do, why you're passionate, why you started your business? If not, that's definitely an opportunity to get that out there. Personalizing your content. I can't say this enough. I think it's very, very important with whatever information you're putting out there, that it really feels like when someone's reading that, that content on the other side, that they get a sense for who you are as a company, what your brand is, what you're about, what you care about. That is so important. And I think especially right now, really showing that empathy, for understanding that we're all in this together. So being able to incorporate that personalization in your content can really help you to stand out online. Also, highlighting your team members. This is a great opportunity to kind of showcase, kind of pulling back the curtain, and here's our team that helps make this all happen. We do this with a lot of our clients where we share out social media posts, and we'll have a picture of the team member and a little, maybe a couple, 2 to 3 fun facts about them. And it's great because it helps people connect with them. And then it also kind of elevates your team members as well. So another way to stand out online. You can also showcase your clients. I'll show you an example of that in a minute. We do this quite a bit where we will highlight, as we get new businesses that come on board with us, we'll actually create a social media post just letting them know, like, hey, meet our new friends at XYZ company. We also write blog articles about success stories that we've had with our clients. And so it's a great way to also elevate our clients, to help with retention, and we promote them so we get them some additional exposure as well. And then last but not least, I think this is one of the things we hear a lot about negative talk about millennials. And I think truly the millennial generation has done an awesome job of kind of bringing us back to like why we do what we do. They are so focused on doing business with companies whose values and beliefs align with theirs. And so it's becoming more and more important for companies to be able to share, like, what are your core values? Why do you do what you do? What is, what impact are you having on the world that you serve? And I think that is becoming more and more important, where we're seeing that online as well as through your social media posts, things like that. Now, Karen, I don't know if you can play this video. It looks like it might have gotten stuck. So I'll just tell you something about this video here. It's actually, there's an app called My Talking Pet. And if you have pets, even if you don't have pets, it's absolutely worth the $3 to download it. But you can create, there we go. I'm not sure if you could hear it on your end, but just something fun with our client that is the interior design firm that I mentioned earlier. Bailey is kind of their office dog. And so we put together a little video about kind of like what's happening at Studio IDC and how much he misses them. And it's just a fun little parody. You can actually go out on our YouTube channel and see it out there. But just doing things a little bit differently, right? Like they're going to stand out. And when we put Bailey's video in their email, we know that we're going to hear back from their clients. And it's, like I said, it's just something fun and lighthearted. And that's what people need right now. All right. Here are some more examples of personalized content, things that you can do. So often people feel like, especially when it comes to like LinkedIn and Facebook, and just in general, like, hey, I keep my business life here, my personal life here. I try not to let them blend. I feel like that's kind of a mistake, because oftentimes it's those things that we have, when people find something that they have in common with you, it helps to form a connection. So the middle example here is a friend of mine, Alex. She is a financial planner, and she did this Everest challenge where you can see she rode 169 miles in 23 hours. That was her big goal. It was basically the equivalent to climbing Mount Everest. So she had posted this on LinkedIn, has absolutely nothing to do with financial planning, but it shows you her passion. It shows you that she is just that photo and a little brief description about what she did shows you her dedication, and conveys probably more than anything, any other piece of marketing material could about the type of person that she is. And if that's something that you value, you definitely you'll want to reach out to her or want to work with her. And the picture on the left with Showcraft, that they are a client of ours, and Gerald had won a big award. And so we highlighted them on our LinkedIn just to give them some additional recognition and just to kind of show all the great work that they did. And then the last is a picture of me speaking at an event where I gave just a shout out to the organization that hired me to thank them for their time, and also was able to tag them. So it gets you additional exposure as well, but it also kind of shows the work that you're doing. So using images to kind of help personalize your content can also be very beneficial. All right, the next topic we wanted to discuss, and the last one, is engage. I feel like this is the time for us to act. If we kind of sit back and just kind of, feel sorry for ourselves and where we're at, I feel like, it's not going to help our business, and it's going to take us down a negative road. So this is a time to engage. Now more than ever, we need to stay top of mind, especially with our customers. So one caveat here that I'll kind of throw in there is, or one point, if you haven't communicated yet to your customers in regards to coronavirus and kind of how, where you guys are at, or how you're doing business, or if you're doing business, I would highly recommend that you get an email out to your customers, letting them know, hey, we're here for you. Here's, if you're open for business, what that looks like, how they can interact or engage with you. If you're not open, they can go online. But it is important to be in front of them, and you don't want to pull back on all the information or the connection, or it's going to be really hard for you to rebuild those relationships or restart once we get to the other side. So here's a couple things I would recommend. Number one, build your list. I think this is a great time to start collecting more emails, start kind of filling your funnel with potential prospects or customers that you could engage with once we're through all of this. So a couple different things that you can do with that. You could create a pop-up on your website where you've got basically an exchange for their email address. You'll give them some great information, a checklist, a guide, something kind of similar to the Rise Up guide that I showed you, but focusing on building your list. Looking at developing new products or services. I gave you several examples of companies of various sizes who have literally pivoted their business overnight and come up with new packages or new products or services that they could offer. And I think it's okay to still, depending on your business, you might not have a lot of people like out seeking, to buy from you right now, but it's okay to keep selling. It's all about your approach and how you do that. So if you come from the standpoint of, I'm here to help you, and I've created this product to help you with where you're at right now, I think that is something, whether they buy or not, they can appreciate that. If you're taking advantage of a situation, that's a whole different story. But I do think there is still an opportunity. We just brought on 3 new clients this week. In a time where people might kind of pull back, people are going, hey, we need to stay in front of our clients. We need to be strategic. We need your help. So don't pull back or just assume that people aren't wanting to buy. It's also a great time to ask for reviews. This is something that a lot of us are probably not the best at, but asking for reviews, like reaching out to your clients and saying, hey, I would love if you would take a minute, because you know that they're spending more time online anyway. I'd love if you'd take a minute just to kind of share your experience with us. If you would write a Google review or a recommendation for us on LinkedIn, you can even provide them with an example of what that could look like, or some ideas of what they could include. But this is a great time that makes people feel good, and they're more inclined to do things like that. Also developing a marketing plan. So planning out for the rest of the year. So maybe you're looking at how you're going to finish the rest of the year strong, looking at June through December. What does your marketing plan look like, and coming up with a plan? This is a time where we can do more to kind of set ourselves up for success. And I've heard that over and over throughout conversations I've had with companies in the last couple of weeks, is like, yeah, I'm finally taking the time to look at some of my lead generation campaigns, or to go take this training so I can implement this new tool or sales technique or whatever it might be. So take advantage of this downtime and develop a marketing plan. think about brainstorming special offers. What can you do if your business has been significantly impacted? What can you do in that June through December timeframe to kind of kick things back, back in business? Connecting with others online. I think this is really important, from a mental health standpoint, but also it's a great time to reach out to new people, new prospects, new potential referral partners on LinkedIn, and to start building those relationships. I've talked to a couple of companies and suggested that one was a flooring company. I said, you know what, you probably have, if you look at who could be a potential referral partner for you, which for them, a lot of it is interior designers, real estate agents, etc. I said, everyone's probably a little bit slow right now in that market. I'm like, why not reach out to them and start, set up some Zoom meetings, start building some of those relationships so that when we get to the other side, now you're ready to take off and run because you've got some new partners that you hadn't met before, and you've had the time to kind of nurture that relationship that normally, if you're super busy, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that. And that one relationship can bring you several new clients. So connect with others online. And last, review and enhance your online presence. I think this is a great opportunity to kind of put yourself in your client's shoes or your prospect's shoes and take a look at your website. Take a look at your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook page. What could you be doing differently? Are your messages clear? Is it setting you up for success from that standpoint? So that is what I have for you today. And now I'll open it up for questions.
Kari, thank you so much. We're actually running close to time. So I do have one question for you.
Sure.
That one of the attendees asked, we are in a business that historically has never been online. Our clients are having a hard time getting online. With what you've shared today, what's one thing that you would suggest we do if our target market usually isn't an online group?
Yeah, that's a tough one. If they're not used to engaging online, I might think about what you could offer them. So for example, I was just talking with a chiropractor yesterday, and he typically has got people in his office and he's feeling all weird, like how can I'm still seeing patients, but there's so many more that I'm not touching. And so I suggested to him to look at creating a Facebook group and recruiting in people that would kind of fit that market. He's got the ability to sell locally, but also on a national level, and to start building a community online and giving them a reason to be there. So unlike a Facebook page where you're just, you're seeing posts and information, I said, if you create a group of people around a like cause, now you're going to create more of a community where an opportunity for them to engage with each other, to share with each other, to ask questions. And so I think it's thinking about what could you offer them, or why would they want to move to that an online presence, and what you could do for them with that tool. I think it would be a good way to think about it.
That is lovely. And with that, my apologies for those of you that with additional questions, but I do want to be really respectful of everybody's time. So this program is put together in partnership with Dakota County CDA and the Associated Chambers. Thank you for joining us. We've got 2 more coming up. Monday, April 13th, we're going to talk about finances, both specific finances as it pertains to the federal funding programs and state funding programs coming out, serviced by a CPA. And then April 15th, we'll conclude our series talking a little bit more, building on what Kari has shared with us today about what does it take to actually start to increase your revenue online while people aren't actually visiting your store. So with that, thank you all for joining us today. I certainly appreciate it. Open to Business is a nonprofit organization serving all 7 metro counties to provide free business consulting and gap financing. Again, the recording of this web seminar will be shared with our county partners and posted on their websites. Thank you all for being here today, and Kari, thank you for sharing your time and this fabulous information. Truly grateful.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.